Hey everybody, welcome to Shooting the Shit with SilverBaX. Today I got Penny.
Hello.
And we just got back from seeing 50 Shades of Grey. First impressions.
Pretty disappointing.
Yeah, 50 Shades of Grey, I didn't read the book. So, you read the book.
I read the book, enjoyed the books, but the movie was basically read line for line the book. There was no writing.
So it was just the actors basically as if they had the book right in front of them. Now I'll say this line, this line, and this line.
Basically.
So it was a full translation of the book.
Yes, and the actors were horrible. There wasn't any acting.
It didn't feel acting to me either. It felt like, hey, I'm a guy you've never seen before, and we're going to be in this movie, and we're going to have lots of sex.
Pretty emotionless.
Yeah, it didn't. And the first probably 45 minutes of the movie was just all the characters felt very forced and like cliche. Like, oh, I'm a waiter. Here's what I'm supposed to say. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm your coworker. Here's what I'm supposed to say. Yeah. And it felt like I was watching a Lifetime movie. Like that's the caliber of directing and producing and writing and everything. It felt like a Lifetime movie.
Yes, I agree.
Or maybe even like a Mexican soap opera. You know, because those are pretty bad too. But man, so 45 minutes into the movie, and we just got our main character, Christian Grey, who's billionaire Bruce Wayne, got this huge company, and now he's met the girl who trips, by the way, their first introduction, she trips coming into the room. There's nothing for her to trip on.
She trips on her, shoelace or something.
That's what it is in the book?
I believe so, if I remember correctly.
Because she didn't even have, shoelace shoes on in this, I don't think.
I could be wrong. She's very clumsy in the book, so... Well,
this was the only part of the movie where she appeared to be clumsy. She fell, and didn't even, there was no build-up to, this is a clumsy character. She didn't oh, I cut myself while I was cutting a pear or something. It was just... Hey, I'm walking in the room. Okay.
I don't think maybe she was that clumsy. It was that big of a part in the book, but that was their first meeting, so they had to put that in there. That's how they met.
Well, that felt weird, and then the coworker feels weird. All right, so now we're 45 minutes into the movie, and he's like, they're ready to. They've got a crush on each other now, and that didn't feel very good either. Apparently in the book, sparks were supposed to fly, and she was supposed to be really horny.
Yeah. When
they first met.
Yeah. Well, that's where I'm saying there was no acting and it was emotionless because, and especially I felt that way on the actor who was Christian Grey.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who anybody was.
But yeah, he did not come off.
Yeah, when you told me, we were in the movie theater, and you told me that, oh, this is where she's supposed to be really, digging him, wanting to jump his bones right there. And when I watched the scene, that's not the impression I got. I got the impression that this is an uncomfortable person who has never goes outside and never talks to people and is just a weird kid. That's what I got out of it, not she's horny and ready to jump his bones.
Yeah. So
that part was bad. And then, okay, so now let's fast forward. Now they have their first encounter, and you're like, well, when is this movie going to end? Because you've read the book, so you know about what time the first book stops. You know what event needs to take place. And apparently the movie doesn't even get to that place, right?
I don't believe so. If I remember correctly, it's been about a year or 2 years since I read the books, but if I remember correctly, how this one ends, I don't know if I can say how it ends.
But
I think that's only halfway through the first book. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
All right. Well, at a certain point in this discussion, I'll go to from here on out. It's going to be spoilers. That way, so if we say anything, they can turn it off or whatever. But all right. So now, I'm watching the entire movie, and I'm just like, God dang, when is this going to fucking end? Because if I watch Princess Bride, when he gets the princess, that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
When I watch a movie about a guy that wants to get into the major leagues, once he gets to the major leagues, that's the end of the movie. There was none of that in this movie. We're just watching two weirdos talk about a contract when they fuck. And it just felt like I was watching like here's a day in the life of, and you don't know when it's going to end.
Which is kind of like the book. I mean, it's about an ordinary girl going through life, and she comes across this
Bruce Wayne,
great guy, who's fucked up, and
he's a twisted son of a bitch,
and that's because of all his previous experiences.
Well, we don't even get that shit in this movie. We don't.
I mean, he touched on it, but
yeah. All right, maybe the spoiler part now. But so he's got some burns on his chest and stuff, or some scars, so you know he's had something rough. And he said that his parents died when he was 4 and he was in foster care. And he said that he had somebody take advantage of him when he was a young boy, like 16 years old. But does that account for him being a super fucking weirdo and having this whole dungeon of whips and chains and butt plugs?
Well, I wouldn't say that's weird. I mean, it's letting you inside a world that if you're not a part of that, you know, dominant and submissive thing, then you kind of get to know and see how that works.
I would have never thought there'd be a contract involved. Like, you agree to anal fisting. Check this box. You agree
I don't
to
know if
vaginal.
Everyone in that world has a contract, but basically saying he's done this before and has had contract,
15 times before.
And she's getting away with more.
Than the other submissives.
Right.
Because by the end of the movie, you feel that he's kind of falling in love. And she's just fucking infatuated. She's like, dude, yeah, you're the guy that's giving me the most attention, and I'm all about you. Yeah. And I'll be your submissive little girl because I like you. And right. He's like, ooh, I got one. And he's reeling it in.
Yeah, but you could tell he likes her more than he has other women in the past.
Yeah, you do get some of the stuff he does. You're like, okay, I can see this is probably his first time doing this, his first time doing that. But back to the acting. Good gosh, you don't.
Horrible.
You don't get that feeling of I'm in love and.
Yeah, well, and I wanted to go back to the his history.
His
and
we never got exposed to.
Right. If I can talk about in the book, it does talk about his mom dying.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember correctly, maybe even being abused, but he was, a part of that and experienced that and saw that.
That fucked him up.
And that kind of fucked him up.
So at 4 years old, do you think you can get fucked up at 4 years old to where you're going to be off kilter your entire life?
Well, you've also never read or seen Dexter, so yes.
I watched some episodes of that.
Well, it goes into his childhood where he was very young and saw his mom die, and he grows up to be a serial killer. So
a vigilante serial killer, though.
Right. Yeah.
So let's talk more about this movie. All right. So the girl they cast, the Daryl, what's her name? Melanie Griffith's daughter.
I don't know her real name. Johnson, I think, is her last name. But Anastasia's still the character.
Yeah. So what'd you think about her casting? Like, did they say anything in the book about her having those bangs? Is that part of the character? Let's get out of here.
They may have gotten descriptive in that. I don't remember, but they do describe how ordinary and
but she don't have to have
she
bangs.
is. Like she's brown hair, plain Jane, and that's kind of where a girl can relate when she's reading the story, because she's like, oh,
Oh,
I
that
could
could be me.
this,
Well,
this girl.
I think in the movie they made her a little too cliche. You look at her, and not only is it she's not ordinary, she's like abundantly unordinary. Like there's ordinary. You, Penny, are an ordinary person. You're fine. You got bang. You don't have bangs, and you don't have you don't do all that like introverted bullshit. So why can't they cast normal as normal instead of like extreme? This is what we think is normal. What's the movie like where the Freddie Prinze Jr. has to fall in love with the nerd or some shit?
She's All That.
Yeah, that nerd character. Like they took it in extreme. Like that's the character I felt that they got Anastasia Steele is the. Not only are you ordinary, but you're a fucking nerd. And there's more ordinary people than nerd-ass ordinary people.
Well, I guess maybe to say that she is an underdog, and this man who has all this money and is very good looking actually
Did
wants
you think
to
he was
be
good
with
looking
her.
in the movie?
No, I think they could have done better.
Yeah, he had like chest hair growing off of a fucking Adam's apple. That was weird.
I mean, he wasn't bad looking, but
he also had club thumbs.
in my vision, that's not what he looks like. But everyone's vision is different. That's part of reading.
Did you
the
picture
book.
him being this age, like this mid-20s?
Yeah,
looks like.
He is like mid to late 20s, I believe, in the book.
Well, see, I didn't read it, but when I heard about this whole 50 Shades of Grey phenomenon, and I pictured like a businessman, like fucking, almost 40 years old, and he's just wanting to fuck a whole bunch of people, and you do what I tell you. Like when I heard about it, and they say the stupid line in the movie, I'm 50 shades of fucked up.
That's in the book.
Oh, that's a fucking cornmeal line.
I know. I expected to hear you laugh when he did
that.
I was surprised that you didn't.
I was just, I couldn't wait for the fucking movie to be over. Like, we're in a movie theater and it's black, and I can't check Facebook or find something else to occupy my time. If we were at home and we had that on, I would have gone and taken a shit. I would have walked the dogs, played on Facebook, because that movie was just like, oh yay, are you fucking kidding me? Boring.
Yeah. Pretty boring. I mean, of course, the sex scenes were pretty hot, but other than that, it was just boring.
So maybe for most of my viewers are probably going to be males. Let's just say that. Yeah. All right, so we get a lot of nipple action. Mm-hmm. She's got some nice brown nipples, and they got some weight. They got some diameter to the nipple.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty good. But we get like a hint of bush every now and then, not very often. And then I think we see his happy trail like twice. We don't even see any. Not that I'm complaining, but there's no dong.
There's no dong, but I think in one scene there was a little of his bush.
Yeah. I saw that. So a happy trail into the bush, but you never see a shaft. You never see a testicle. And I mean, this is supposed to be the sex. This is supposed to be female porn. Like when you read the book, it's like, I'm sure it goes into more detail than we got to see. They're talking about thrusting and penetration and all that shit. We ain't seen none of that shit in the movie.
Right.
We just saw some nipples and naked bodies on top of each other.
Well,
was that okay with you as a reader?
I would have liked to have seen more, but then you go into it's a porn. Like, it would have to be one of those X-rated movies. Or lots of people were talking about, I don't even know if they would do the movie and it would come out in America, but maybe in Europe it would do better because they're
more liberal about their sex.
And able to put more of that on film. And
I've seen my share of R-rated movies. And I've seen dongs. I've seen vaginas. In regular rated R movies. And I've seen people fuck. I've seen Sliver. Have you ever seen that movie? That's a Sharon Stone one. That was back in the 90s when she had just Basic Instinct. So it's that time. Like, there's a lot of sex scenes that do a lot more for me as a to put in the spank bank. There's a lot more of that stuff than what I saw in this movie. So was it kind of a letdown that you're like, I read this book and it got me all fucking hot and bothered and I'm ready to go masturbate, and then now you go to the movie, you're like, fuck, man, it's like watching soap opera sex.
I think it was a little bit more than most movies I've seen. Like regular movies. I mean...
Yeah, you don't see a whole lot of that in Pitch Perfect.
Yeah, right. But it was a little disappointing, but I expected that because it is a movie, you know, that was released.
Yeah. Will you kick the dog, please, so he can stop licking?
And, so I didn't expect to have... So I was kind of curious to see how they would, you know, make this book into a movie. And it just goes to show most books don't need to be made into a movie, because the book, you know, of course, leaves you to your imagination. So it's not going to, like I said, it's not going to be the way everyone pictures it. Everyone has a different picture in their head.
Yeah. Now back to the maybe do the spoiler part. The whole movie ends after she gets spanked, like a discipline spank. She has a conversation with him, and he's like, oh yeah? Well, you want to know what it's like to be fucked up? Show me what being punished is. And she takes a whoopings across the ass. 6 whoopings across the ass. And then she's like, you'll never do that again. You know, because it was a real emotional thing. I don't quite get everything. But then she gets in the elevator, and boom, that's the end of the fucking movie.
Yeah, bad ending. But yeah, she's basically saying, let me see what this is. Let me see what you need out of this. And then because she loves him, she was hurt by the fact that he would hurt her.
Like physically.
Yeah,
I was hoping that they would do a camera shot
pleasure
of like her swollen ass from the beatings. Like I wanted to see that.
They talk about that in the book.
Because you could see that he was really like putting power down on them, smacks on the ass with the leather belt. And I was like, all right, this is punishment. So in the contract that they're talking about, if she fucks up, you receive punishment.
Right.
And she's like, well, you know what? Before I sign this contract, let's see what this punishment shit is. And she's like, all right, give me the punishment so I can have an idea. And then she gets 6 whacks across the ass. And those looked hard. I wanted to see, like, not just red ass.
Right.
I wanted to see, like, some cuts. I wanted to see that he put the work down. Or show her having trouble pulling her pants up because it touched the soreness of her ass. They never gave us that. It just fucking fell short.
So. Was she wearing a dress in that?
At the end, I think she had pants on because she had those weird shoes back on.
Oh, maybe. But, yeah, I did expect that as well, for them to show how bad it was. Especially if you're going to end it that way.
Yeah. That's the end of the movie. You need to be like, oh, shit. There's got to be something to talk about. There was nothing there. I think the coolest thing about the movie was the roommate was kind of hot. Like, they cast the hottest person in the whole movie is the blonde roommate.
That's supposed to be a big thing in the book, where her roommate is a hot girl who does have sex, and then you've got Anastasia, the boring, ordinary
Oh, yeah, she was a virgin, by the way.
So, you know, she was supposed to be hot.
Oh, well, they did a good job with that. And then, so, just so you don't know, you may not know, but the hot roommate was having sex with Mr. Gray's brother. Mr. Gray, uh-oh, your mom's calling.
I will call her back.
Is that going to be okay?
Yeah.
What song is that? So, overall, your expectations were not met. Because you went in there, you were like, babe, talking to me, let's go see a movie. We're off tomorrow. And I said, all right, cool. And you were like, I really want to go see this 50 Shades of Grey movie. I was against it because I was like, it's going to be girly and blah, blah, blah. So this went beyond girly for me. Like, it wasn't just a girly movie. I can tolerate girly movies. This was a horrible fucking movie.
It was very horrible.
The acting, there's no... The music was bad, too.
Yeah, it was. The music was...
God dang. And Danny Elfman did some of the musical scoring, which I didn't really pay too much attention to the scoring, but I heard the songs that they were playing. Unimpressed.
The scoring wasn't so bad. I mean, it was right there with the... You know how it goes up when you get to that point. So the scoring wasn't bad, but
that's probably the only thing original in it, because in the book it doesn't say. In the background, we hear Beyonce singing a weird version of a Beyonce song. It was like everybody has jumped on the bandwagon of doing these slowed down songs. And for all you aging geeks out there, Age of Ultron, you know, I've got no strings to hold. Yeah. But they're doing that dark version of it. And then now I'm seeing that a lot more.
I am too.
What's the video game? There's a video game that Evolve.
Okay.
I forgot what the song is they're doing, but they've taken one of those old school songs and slowed it down and have like this girl chanting in the background to kind of chant the lyrics. You're like, everybody's doing it. Now Beyonce's doing it to her own shit.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I saw that was the Age of Ultron trailer. And I thought that was awesome, but now I'm just
now it's like overdone. I was disappointed. So overall, you went into this movie expecting out of 10. Like, what were you expecting out of 10?
I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know, at least a 7 or 8.
You were expecting a 7 or an 8. What did you end up getting?
Like a 4.
Like a 4. So would you even purchase this?
No.
Ever?
No.
Rent it? Okay. How do you feel about the next one? How do you feel? You're going to complete it because you've already started it.
Right.
So you're going to watch the sequels that they're making.
I will watch the sequels, but I will not go see them in the theater. I do not expect to do that.
All right. Will you pay to rent them? Or will you just wait for them to come to your prepaid Hulu or Netflix or whatever your service?
I may rent.
Or, maybe go to one of those sites where you stream shit.
Yeah, maybe that.
Maybe that.
In hopes that maybe the second and third one will be better, or I don't know how many they plan on doing, or if...
they made $89 million. They're going to be doing a lot.
Because, like we said earlier, and I'm pretty sure the first book doesn't end that way, so... You know, they may be doing more than just 3.
I don't know. That sounds like a big fucking waste of money to me. Big waste of money, big waste of resources, big waste of my fucking time. Because that was over 2 hours of that bullshit.
Yes.
And I don't blame you for taking me. I blame you motherfuckers in the movie place. Someone had to stamp that shit and say, yes, this is good. Great acting. Great cast. Great story. Oh,
There's
fuck
a lot
off.
of bad movies out there.
Yeah, but this one, they could have asked for anything. They could have asked for stars. They could have said, dude, we need a better script. Yeah. Like, someone could have said something.
Yeah, I don't know who decided on the casting, because there were several actresses and actors for both of the main characters that were thrown out there that I thought would have been...
A better choice?
A better choice. I can't remember exactly who, but...
Yeah.
I mean, the big thing in the movie,
she said
too,
who, but...
Huh.
You said who, but...
Big thing in the book too is like she is crossing the contract line. Like most of the girls would have just said, "Okay, I'm going to do this, go by the rules, whatever." Like she's talking back to him. She's giving.
She's
him
rolling in
challenge.
her eyes. You better not roll your fucking eyes at me,
or bite your lip.
Yeah, because I'll bite it.
So she's challenging him, and I think that's part of why he
what's intriguing
in love or infatuated with her. So he in the next one will go back for her.
Well, I won't give 2 shits about the next one, I promise you that. So this has been Bryan SilverBaX and Penny SilverBaX talking about 50 Shades of Grey, the movie that is now playing. And Bullet wants to make noise over there. That's my dog, her dog, our dog. It's an annoying bastard. But, so, this has been Shooting the Shit. I hope you enjoyed our first installment. I hope it turned out. It looks like it's recording something. Penny has a tendency of talking really softly. So, it may not have picked all that up. We'll see. But whatever you do, don't go see 50 Shades of Grey. Just go to magicmovie.com and watch real porn. We'll see y'all later. Peace.